The following interviews are patients of mine who didn't want to be identified, and so I'm going to be speaking with them over speakerphone, and we're going to be speaking about a variety of topics, so I hope you enjoy it. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Corona. I'm great, thank you.
Good. So how's your son doing? I saw him, I know, like a month or so. Let me see. I think it was, a couple months ago. Now,
Yes, April 20th.
yeah. So now his history. I know he had a history of ADD, and didn't he take ADD medication when he was younger?
Yes, actually, at age of 6, the school, asked us to go there, and we found out that my son is not able to concentrate at school. They wanted us to see a professional. So that's how we get to know you a long time ago, years ago, when he was 6. Now he's 25 almost.
Wow.
And you diagnosed my son with ADHD, and you put him on a pill. It back then was oh my God, Voltaren,
Uh-huh.
Voltaren, 160 Voltaren, and then my life is totally changed. He got concentrated, focused, and he used to bring honor students every month, and he achieved 100% goals at school. Everything was fine and fantastic. Then when he became 15 years old or 14 years old, my mom decided not to give him these pills anymore. And then I didn't argue with her because back then I had a bad divorce, and I was, dealing with my own issues internally, so I just gave up on the whole board.
But wasn't he on a stimulant, and she was concerned that it blunted his personality or something like that, or wasn't that?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we stopped giving him the pills, when he was 15 years old, each year by year he became worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because he was off the pills. And I remember you told us that he needs to be on the pill by end of the graduation from the university. But my mom, she didn't believe in pills, so she stopped giving him the pills, and he got worse and worse till he became very, very abusive, like sociopath. I hate to say it, but I've seen it, and argumentative. He couldn't hold a job. So last year, he changed 3 jobs. After 2-3 months going to that job, they were, just get rid of him or fire him because he was talking back to them. He wasn't follow the rules, no concentration, nothing. So his word and my word became, very disaster. And then he became, I told him he became on the weed and nicotine, obsessed with those 2 items, and he started abusing himself with weed. He became worse, his behavior.
Yeah. So it was marijuana and nicotine, yeah.
Marijuana and nicotine and game. He was obsessed with game, and he was on the game playing with the bad people.
Gaming.
On this headphone, like all day long, doing nothing, not going to work, no hope. He really had no hope, no future. He just gave up, and he was hanging out with bad people.
Yeah.
Wasting his time. Then I one of those days, I really yelled at him. As soon as the bank fired him, the last job that I was trying hard to get him into that through my friends, then they fired him. And then I said, you know what? I'm done with you. if you need to come with me to Dr. Corona, I think this is ADHD, and I've heard that weed doesn't go with ADHD and it makes your symptoms even worse. So enough is enough. If you don't listen to me, I swear to God, I'm gonna put you on the street because you're 24 years old, and I'm tired of enabling you and letting you live in my house, like this. This is not a good mother. I think I'm enabling you. You need to listen to me. He starts crying. He said, okay, I listen. I'm sorry. And we thank God we came to your office on April 20th. We came to your office. I made an appointment. And then, oh, my God, what a big change. Dr. Corona, I really, really, really appreciate you. You once again saved my life. First, when he was 7 years old. Now, when he is almost 25. In the very short amount of the time, so it's April, May, June, in only 2 months and a half, I see big changes. Less game, less argumentative, less talk back, more focused, more hopeful. He registered to go back to school. I mean, he's going to Orange Coast Community College, and he wants to get his business, bachelor's degree, hopefully in future. And he's more goal-oriented. Less game. He completely put away the weed. He's not touching it. He throw out all those devices that you put. You smoke weed or anything. No more nicotine at all. His not wife. His girlfriend talked to me last month. He said, "Mom, there is such a big transformation in Pajam's behavior. He's more calm, no anxiety, no depression. He listens to me. He focused." I said, well, I see the result. He works with me at my job. He's very nice, sweet, so helping everyone without talking back to them, without yelling at anyone. I mean, different person in 2 months and a half, only on Buprine, 150 milligrams.
The lowest dose of Wellbutrin is amazing. I think, stimulant actually in his case was a little bit too strong. And so in some people, Wellbutrin is good because it boosts dopamine. So it does kind of what stimulants do. It's just not, definitely not the harshness. I mean, some people, stimulants are great, a lot of people. But in his case, it took the lowest dose of Wellbutrin. That's the surprising thing. Wellbutrin can also help stop smoking. It can help with, it's also known for cigarette smoking too. But I think just happiness, and it's just that he being only on that one thing, the lowest dose of it, to have this kind of result. And he told me too, he still craves the drugs a little bit, but he doesn't go there. And he said it's just a passing craving. But I'm not gonna go back to where I was before. So the last time I spoke with him, he sounded so good.
Oh yeah, yes, amazing. And by the way, he goes to the gym every day.
Wow.
This is something plus for me. I mean, he never in entire his life was going to the gym, not even a day. But since he's on this pill and we saw you or we visit you when you diagnosed him and this, he is going to the gym around 1 hour and 30 minutes doing all cardio and weightlifting. He's very happy that he's bringing muscles. Oh, my God. I mean, such a big transformation. And I swear to God, I'm going to suggest you to any family who has having a struggle with their young kids or, like a young generation. I really ask them to see you. I already gave your phone number to all my friends who has young kids like my son's age, because you changed his life and my life, eventually everybody's life. And at the end, he's gonna be very more useful for the society.
Absolutely.
Not only for his family, also when he goes to school, he becomes very useful for society. So God bless your heart, and thank you so much from the bottom of my heart.
Well, you change one person, you change everything: the family, society, everyone that he comes in contact with. And as a mother, I mean, you were on the right track. I mean, you don't want to enable. You were on the right track about giving him one last chance, because if you keep enabling him, sometimes it really makes it worse. So the fact that you stood up to him and said enough, and had you not done that, he probably wouldn't have followed through with this either. So it's also not just him; it's also you being a strong mother and just doing what you had to do to save your son.
Thank you so much. Yes, I had no choice. Otherwise, I noticed, oh, okay, you know what? I already lost my son. You need to do something. And, I just, as you said, stood up, and I'm glad I did. It was very difficult for me because at one point I was thinking maybe he go and suicide himself. He do something bad to himself.
Yeah.
Because I threatening him, I'm going to put you on the street. Or you come with me and make an appointment with Dr. Corona and back to, your normal life like you used to. So, I dealt with my fear and anxiety about that. And thank God, rewarded me with his being healthy and going back to the track. So I really encourage every mom to do whatever I did. If you love your children, please step up and become a mother, a strong mother, as Dr. Corona said.
I'm very proud of you guys.
Thank you so much, Dr.
All right.
I'm really happy.
And tell him I say hi, and I'll talk to you soon, okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a great day.
So that's what I'm talking about. I mean, one small medication dose and a life change like that. See, there's so many kids like him. I mean, nowadays the video games especially with guys, it's terrible. I mean, they'll spend all day doing that. And he's a good kid. He was really a good kid. I've known him again since he was a little kid. I haven't seen him for many, many years. And then he came back to see me a couple months ago, and then he was in bad shape. I mean, he was unemployed. He couldn't hold a job. He was doing drugs, and he said, I didn't want to, but I just can't help it. And then he was hanging out with this older guy. He's like over 10 years older than him, who was playing video games. A different place, but they were doing it together, and it was just that's all they was doing. And nowadays with kids, I mean, there's a lot of wasted time. I mean, when we were younger, we'd go out, we'd ride our bikes, we'd go play, but now the kids are just stuck inside and for hours and hours and hours in the dark and eating and you're just not socializing, and so it's really been bad for mental health. And then with him, again, he was really sensitive. A stimulant, I remember with him, he took one years ago, but what sometimes they'll do is they'll blunt the personality, or they'll just make kids like. So that's why I chose Wellbutrin for him. It's just a real mild boost of dopamine, and that's in his case, that's all it takes. And dopamine is where the term dope comes from. So in his case, it also it got rid of the cigarettes, which is really difficult. The fact that he stopped nicotine, that's really difficult to do. That's more difficult than marijuana for sure. And then he did both, and now look, he's at the gym. He's it's a life change by one small intervention. And think about how many people are out there like him. So many people out there. They're suffering, and they don't need to suffer. And there's a solution out there, but they're not they're not there. And it's sad when I see that. And I know that looking at the bigger picture, I want to help as many people as I can, and that's what I try doing. And that's my mission in my practice and with writing and speaking and all that, is that I want to see this changed. Really, I really want to see it change. So, anyways, we'll move on to the next person. Hello.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I wanted to check in with you because last time I talked to you, things weren't great. I think I had talked to you a few months ago and things were going really well. I know you moved back southeast, and I think you were pretty happy where you're at. A good community, good church group, good friends, and all that. And then that was a few months ago. And then I think the last time we talked, which was recently, things weren't as good. So tell me about what happened there.
Well, I had stopped taking my meds.
Right.
Again.
And what was the thinking? Now, when you did that, what were you thinking about?
Well, I just wanted to try to clear my body out, and I wanted to try to find natural remedies, just plant alternatives. And I had heard of tinctures, mushrooms that supposedly did the same things as my medicines. So I decided to try it. So I slowly weaned myself off my meds and then onto the tinctures. And so I was doing like 4 different mushroom things and St. John's wort. And at first, it seemed like it was okay, but I instantly realized I still needed my mood stabilizer. And then pretty much right away, I still needed one of my other medicines. And I thought I was going to be okay, but I didn't realize, like, I was kind of on a slow decline. And I guess my daughter could really tell. Like, we talk, not every day, but she could tell, like, I was going down. And then, I don't know, I just kind of like, my husband and I started going through some stuff, and that was like a couple of months ago, and just the way that I wasn't able to handle everything, it was like the whole world was just closing in on me, and I started going down the dark hole, and it was just like the vortex was sucking me in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I really realized that things were a lot worse than I realized. And I felt like the depression was taking me over again. And I realized that I just really needed to try taking my meds again. So I started taking my meds, and within a few days, it made a world of difference. And I talked to my daughter, and she was like, "You sound so happy." And I was like, "Yeah, I am. I started taking my meds again." And she was like, "Yeah, I can tell. You sound so much better. Like, I could tell you haven't been happy for a couple months." And I was like, "Oh, I didn't realize anyone could tell." And she was like, "Yeah, I could tell." And then my husband, I told him that I started taking my medicine again. And he was like, "If you need your vitamins, take your vitamins.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you should never stop taking them if you need them." So I just realized, like, I'm glad I tried it, because I just wanted to know if my body had changed at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if my, like with age and, having had a baby a few years ago, but my brain just still needs the meds, and it's a good regimen for me. And if I take them, like, at the same times every day, it fits my body for me now. And when I deviate from my program, it just really messes me up, and I don't function. I'm not me. I'm not 100% me. And yeah, I still, with the bipolar, I still have ups and downs, but I don't swing super high, and I don't go super low, and I don't feel like the whole world is caving in on me. And I don't get that anxiety where my chest gets all tight and I feel like I need an inhaler because I can't breathe, and like all the physical, stuff that happens because of the depression and anxiety doesn't happen to me when I'm on my meds. So,
and you're on the
I tried it.
Is Prozac, Wellbutrin, Lamictal, and that's those three, or there's one more?
And Topamax.
And Topamax, right? Okay. Yeah. Sorry.
And my Adderall that slows my brain down so I can think.
Yeah.
So it works for me, and it like my husband tells me, it's my vitamins. It's just if I have to take it, and when I don't, I just don't function well.
Well, I mean, you bring up great points, because I call them brain vitamins, and I think people like the term vitamins because it seems so healthy. And when you say I need them, see, needing them is not an addiction. So it's not like an addictive need like someone would see with street drugs. It's a need that I really need to feel better. I need to balance my chemistry, and that's all they do. They simply are balancing your neurochemistry, and I think it's like you said. I think a lot of people. I think it's a good thing sometimes to do what you just did for some people, because it's you finally get to that point where you realize, okay, I get it now. And then when you get it this one time, you probably won't do it again. You might, but you probably won't. I saw a woman once. similar story. She'd go off her med. She didn't do well, went back on. She did better, back and forth. Saw her for many years, and so basically she came to the office and she told me, well, my opinion is I don't think I should be on these for so long. And I looked at her. I said, you know what? To tell the truth, your body doesn't really care about your opinion. And anyway, she said she told me later, when I left your office, I was really pissed off at you. She said, how dare you tell me what I need? How dare you tell me that? So she said, I was driving home. I was pissed off. I was fuming, and I'm at a stoplight. I look up in the mirror and I see myself and I start laughing. She said, I started laughing, and she goes, wait a minute, what are you doing? I mean, how ridiculous are you? I mean, he seems to be right most of the time. He seems to be right that when I start him, I feel better. When I stop, I don't. He said, why do you keep fighting this? Why, So she said she got home. She called me. She said, I apologize for leaving in a haste because I just was upset. And I go, oh, no, I understand. I understand. I probably shouldn't said what I said about your body not wanting your opinion, but it was true. But she said, you know what, I'm going to stay on them, and I'm just going to stay on them and not worry about it. And I go, that's great. And she said, why don't if I'm going to want to go off them, how about if I go and talk to you about it first? And I said, that sounds great. And she said, I know what your opinion will be already, but at least I can talk to you about it before I do it. And I said, that's great. And then she's never done it since, and everything's fine. So I think people need to get to realize that, look, this is not an addiction. It's like telling a diabetic they're addicted to insulin. It's like telling an anemic person they're addicted to iron. It's the same thing. It's a body's need, but it's not. It just means that we need to balance your chemistry if you want to feel normal. And what you tried. I mean, I'm sure some of the mushroom things and supplements. It's not that they don't work for some people. St. John's wort can work for some people. They don't work as well as these, though. I mean, in my experience, the supplements that you can get over the counter at the health food store, they don't have the power and the punch of what these do. They just don't. And if it's very, very mild, maybe they will help people. If it's not super severe, yeah, maybe it'll help certain people. I'm not discounting that. But for the most part, they don't. And but people can still take supplements, and just don't stop the stuff like this. I mean, you're on a really good combination of 4 medications. And so I think, and again, when you feel back to yourself again, like you said, other people around you, your husband, your daughter, they're the best judges of, parents, siblings, kids. They're the ones who are going to tell us that, there's something wrong here. What's going on with you? You're not yourself. And we don't often see it because we're too close to ourselves. To see it sometimes, and so, but this is a great example of just staying in the course and not worrying about it, So
yeah, I'm just glad to be back to my normal self.
Well, you've been a patient for many years, and I'm glad you're happy back east there, and so. I'm glad you were here, because I know it's a beautiful. You said you're really living in a really beautiful area, so.
Yes.
Yeah, so, well, good. If any questions or anything, just, call me. If you need anything, let me know. But I'll go ahead and get everything refilled for you. And like I said, we'll follow up maybe in a few months or so if things are still okay, all right?
Okay. Sounds
you
good.
take care of yourself.
You so much,
all right.
Dr. Corona.
No problem.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Yeah, so got another example here of the same thing I said before about, so again, the person who's on 4 medications. So Prozac, Lamictal, Topamax, and Wellbutrin. I think it was Wellbutrin. So serotonin, dopamine, GABA. So in her case, her chart's semi-thick, so it took a little while to get the right mix on her. You don't get a mix like that in 1 or 2 visits. It takes a little bit of while to figure that out. But then since she's been on that mix, she's been great over the years. But again, I think when people, they've been on things for a while and they look at the bottles and they're like, oh, I don't know, I've been fine. I don't think I need them. I don't think I need them anymore. And then that leads to going off of them, and that leads to this happening. And just like with the other patient, it just doesn't go well. So again, because in her case, her genetics are very strong. She's on 4 things, so it's just the likelihood of her going off of them is it's none. Okay, but so what? I mean, people get all hot and bothered about, well, I don't want to be on things that are at the pharmacy. I don't want to support big pharma. I want to get mild. I don't want to get those strong pharmaceutical drugs. That I want to get the natural stuff, and I want to get the stuff that's good for me. So the good for me, what they're implying is that medications like this are not really good for you. They're terrible, and that you need to do it with psilocybin maybe or maybe ketamine. And again, what we're gonna on other shows, we're gonna talk about other ways of treating things, including those things. So I'm not completely bashing those things, but for the most part, medications that I work with they're life-saving, and they're safe, they're effective, and they're amazing. I mean, they transform people. Like in her case, she was in really, really bad shape when I first saw her, and she had a really bad history. And it took a little while, but then she'd been really stable for years. And the fact that she'd been stable for so many years, this is why people experiment. And then, there's all these like mushroom coffees things now that they're all big. And this is better than caffeine. You drink these mushroom coffees. So there's all these things, there's all these gimmicks out there that people get into, and they think it's just, maybe that'll replace, because, 5-HTP or SAMe or St. John's wort works on serotonin. Well, that's what Prozac does, so I don't need Prozac. Wrong. They don't do nearly as good of a job, not even close. So anyway, that's another good case of why not to stop until you talk to your doctor about it. That's always a good rule of thumb. I hope you enjoyed the show today. If you have issues with mental health, or if you know someone who needs help, I'm available. If you want to contact my office, my website is drpaulcoronamd.com. That's DR for doctor. And you can also learn more about me on my website. My phone number, if you want to contact my office directly, is 949-481-0118. If you want to learn more about my methods and what I do, my latest book, I recommend The Corona Protocol, a scientifically proven medical solution to stop addiction, bullying, homelessness, school shootings, and suicide, 30 years in the making. In this book, I tell 30 original short stories about people. And I also have my first 3 books, Healing the Mind and Body, the trilogy, available online. I look forward to you joining me again on the next episode of The Dr. Paul Show.